Alright, not my best first impression. I will give you that. Let's get into the fun, though. Alright, gang. What we got here today is we got our classic. We got the Anger Bird. And by that I mean me, excuse me while I adjust that just a bit, need to paint this boy up. And here he is. You know, at the moment, I actually forget what the model's name is specifically, so you will have to forgive me for that. But he's really cool. Also kind of one of the miniatures that I was a little bit on the fence about. Wasn't sure I was going to be a huge fan, but he's growing on me. But let's get into the fun. Figure out where I want to start tackling this boy from. Couple key points I see. We've got flesh in a couple places, which we're going to do with the same sort of undead flesh as the ghoul. The wings are going to be white. I want to do a red robe. And then I'm thinking like tarnished gold armor and accoutrements. Ren, what's up, buddy? I think that's the plan. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to start with the biggest piece, that being the cloak. Right, this is the clogged bottle. Don't think I'm gonna do a lava base this time. I don't think I have quite enough base to do that with properly. Boop. What's that? Yep, I think that should be fine. Gonna put those up there so I have some room for my elbow. And away we go. Just using this Bloodfest Crimson. Get a good base down. Oh, whoops. I forgot to post on Twitter. 1 second. Welcome back, Ren. Huh. There we go. Oh, I thought I just almost bit down and bit right through my microphone. How's your week been, Ren? Ooh, that's a good project. I gave myself a similar project, which is to get most of my Massive Darkness collection done, which is what this guy is from, because I got that pledge in. Well, we're one down. A little over 100 to go. We'll get there, I hope. I feel like I can even get a little bit shoddier with tabletop standard. I'm going for board game standard. Actually, that's a good question. What do you think is actually a higher standard? Tabletop standard for armies, 3 colors, wash and a highlight, or board game figures? It's like with the tabletop army, you'll see the guy from 6 feet away and you'll be done with him. A board game figure you will see from considerably closer up. Maybe board game standard is the higher one. Either way, I'm just trying to apply this deep crimson to all of the cloth. As that'll be the starting point for it, and then we'll lighten it up to red and then bright red in places. But I think the crimson makes a nice shadow. Tip, tip, tip. Just gonna keep going down. This weekend, I need to go back through and I need to remake all of my Twitch overlays. Every single one of them. Stick back down, you. Use an old tape to hold this in place, so... I would like to do a little bit like of a red outline around the wings. I think that would look sufficiently edgy, but I'm not certain the best way to do that. My thought is that I might end up doing it off camera, because I think it will require me to use oil paints, and that takes a little bit of setup and prep work on my end. So I can't exactly bust it out tonight, unfortunately. But I could probably do a very thinned red oil layer over the wings, and I think that'll look really nice. And then that'll give me the freedom to do a little bit more blending. On the wings. Alright, now the nice bit about this area down here is that this is just pretty much going to remain crimson the whole time. There's not going to be a whole lot of lighting, special effects that go on here. It's the underside of his cape. Oh, no, you're fine. All right. The obnoxious part, though, about a figure like this is he's got so many nooks and crannies hidden in the folds of his cloak. Hey, Snessok! Yeah, he is a pretty mad bird. Big sword, gotta love it. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to finish him tonight. I might have to finish him tomorrow on stream. I gotta go to bed a little bit early, so unfortunately I really only have 2 hours to play. He's also from Massive Darkness. That's pretty much the theme for the foreseeable future, is finishing off all of the Massive Darkness figures. He's the same type as the ghoul. Busy, Ren. Okay, now we're going to switch to the smaller brush to start doing some skin. We're going to start again at the Hellbound Flesh. I see the Battletech game is getting very popular. I haven't played it. I haven't watched any playthroughs of it either. Kind of curious. I have like no experience with BattleTech though. The most I have is the one game on the GameCube. BattleTech. I forget what the subtitle was. That's maybe too small or too big a brush to be doing that sort of work with. I remember really enjoying the multiplayer of the BattleTech game, but it just turned into me and my friends chasing each other around in fighter mode for 30 minutes. Hey, amateur. Ooh. You want to draw. And specifically, you want to draw Xenoblade characters because you have a desire to draw belts. Lots of belts. Amateur, how are you today? Actually, do Xenoblade characters have lots of belts? What's their gimmick? Lots of boobs. I'm not talking about a tabletop game, Ren. Oh, I'm fine. A little bit tired, got home late, had to do some work. Okay, now I'm gonna... Oh no. Yeah, I'm not thinking of BattleTech. I'm thinking of Robotech Battlecry. That's what I'm thinking of. Eh, they're like the same. Nia in a business suit? Ooh. That's fancy. Alright. Trying to tab all of the little hidden bits of his skin. That you can see underneath these metal plates. Weird, I can't tell if he's supposed to be like mecha or just what he is supposed to be. Oh, he's supposed to be broken. That's what he's supposed to be. This snapped off at some point. Oh well. I'd heard reports of some people saying copies of their game were broken or had broken figures, but if that's the only one I've got, that's a really, really minor one. And we can just set that in there. Set it and forget it. Don't let MT bog you down too much on numbers, amateur. It's your RP. You can make it as overpowered as you want. To heck with the players. You don't even have to give them a balanced experience. That's why I'm the greatest dungeon master in the world. I focus on the 3 Ds. Don't care, destroying players, dooming the world. Weird, Vac's not in here. Hooray for food! I had some. It wasn't good. I kind of regret it. Kind of want more. But that sort of thinking is sort of where most of my problems have started, so I'm trying to shy away from it. I can't tell what this is supposed to be coming out of his back. If it's supposed to be like a fur cape? Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. I mean, you got time. You got 30 cars to do, but you got time to do it. Do. There you go. Ugh. Really don't want to paint wings. Don't like wings. Alright, let's get some brown out here to start on all of the leather bits and bobs. Boop. Kind of wish I could have projects more than 95% done. Let's see here. Next month I got a whole new tabletop army coming to me. That'll be exciting. That army, I have no idea how I'm actually going to build it as well, which is probably the bit that I'm most excited for. I love being able to start from scratch and actually figure something out. But since it's like the first wave of releases, you know, we're still missing some key elements that'll be released in the coming months. Like the entire centerpiece of my army. Not a model that makes it go, but a model that definitely helps it go. Once that stuff starts to coming in, we'll probably switch gears from Massive Darkness, because we'll probably be through the bosses or on our way through the bosses when that comes in, so that'll be a good change of pace. But that army will be slightly less varied in theme than this stuff will be, because that's all pretty much an undead army. Undead Greco-Roman Greco-Roman legionnaires, soldiers, undead minotaur, that sort of thing. I don't know if I will be able to paint the centerpiece on stream, though. It might literally be too big to comfortably fit. Because what the centerpiece is it's called the Fallen Divinity. And it's basically a statue animated by a vengeful, very angry god. And the army's whole gimmick is that as your models die, you get tokens. And once you reach certain numbers of tokens, you get stacking army-wide buffs that are pretty powerful. So as your models die, what remains becomes more and more lethal. So list building presents an odd challenge because you have to try to build your army around what gets the most benefit from being the last left alive versus what you could potentially afford to throw away if you had to. But it's an elite army, so you're paying a premium for all of those chaff units that are just there pretty much to take a hit. But the gimmick of the Fallen Divinity is that rather than those tokens going towards a generic pool that powers your whole army, any tokens generated within X number of inches of the divinity itself go to the divinity. And as the Fallen Divinity levels up, it gets progressively more and more lethal, until rules-wise it can almost solo an entire 15 to 2,000 point army by itself. Imagine a 40k model that had toughness 2 with rerolling 1s, and then it rolled a dice on every wound, and on every 4, 5, or 6 the wound was negated, and that's how durable it is at max level. That's essentially what it gets to do. Along with having like 13 attacks, and it's just disgusting. And I love it. But again, that's at tier 3, so you have to lose almost your entire army for it to even reach a shred of that power. But the divinity does also function as a very good psychological tactic. As you put it on the board, and it's essentially like saying, yes, hello. This is coming for you. Buckle up, kids. Shake, 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 shake. Alright, I'm going to use a little bit of Brain Eater Azure here on the beak. Just for a little bit of color diversity. Ooh, I don't think that came out very thin. Good enough. Boom boom bada doom, boom boom bada doom, boom boom bada doom. You know, I wouldn't actually think that it was the beak at all. I would have thought it was an elaborate helmet if it weren't for the tongue coming out of it. Which is an unfortunate sentence that could be said about a lot of things. Oh, I thought that treasure chest was just a treasure chest, you know, except for the tongue coming out of it. Son, that's a mimic. Alright. Let's continue to do some experimenting. This is Instant Colors Ogre Brown. I love it because don't let the name fool you. It's really not a very good brown. However, it is pretty adequate base for gold. Alright, just keep going, just keep going. All of this armor, pretty much. We get hit by this. And we'll definitely come back later with some hot highlights. But this fortunately does take the burden off shading. So hooray for cheat codes. Do 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 do. By the way, I want to apologize for the audio yesterday. I had bad cable management, and I had my headphone cable basically wrapped around the microphone stand, which was causing those weird thumps. I fixed that, so hopefully that should not be a problem going forward. But if the audio does get bad, just let me know. And I will see what I can do to fix it. Do 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 do. Bam 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 bam. The problem with the instant paints is that they don't show up super well over dark colors. You want them really over lighter colors, like gray, white, or like cream. Again, we can make do. For our purposes today, this is perfectly acceptable. This mini is also going to be a little bit of a study for me in trying to not come out with so many different colors that you lose track of what the heck is going on the model, but rather just enough colors to keep things interesting. Thank you, Amateur. Just double checking. One of these days I will buy a big boy mixer and life will be good. Some of those are expensive though. I mean, you get good value out of them.
Uh-oh, looks like we're gonna have to do some fighting.
Uh-oh, gorsh. Gorsh, Amateur. Speaking of that, is there actually going to be any combat in ERRP? Is that what the numbers tweaking is for? Are you going to simulate the combat with summoners duels? God, I really do love this ogre brown. I love the effect it gives. Oh. MT wants special skills. Does everybody else get special skills? Speaking of skills, this reminds me of Elden Ring. They just took an absolute nerf hammer to Elden Ring, and they smashed the current meta. And I'm kind of all for it. Also, Amateur, we're still expecting you in Final Fantasy XIV. I expect to see proof of logon within a day. Otherwise, I'm afraid I can't allow this RP to happen. I'll take your silence as an understanding, and I look forward to serving with you in Eorzea. Nah, I'm kidding. Guys, Bleach is coming back. Are you all excited? I'm really excited for the return of Bleach. Actually, unreasonably excited. I kind of hope that he's able to do a little bit of story correction on the last arc, because there were some things that were a little bit weird. But overall, I really liked some of the characters. I really want to see a lot of that action translated to TV. I would love it if UFO Table was doing the animation for it, but alas, they are not. You're hilarious, and that's a 5-minute timeout. Like, the whole Quincy Blood War arc was really cool, even if some of the characters' powers were really silly, and some of them were just blatant rip-offs of other characters' powers. Because again, when Tite Kubo doesn't know what to do, he just makes more characters. But you know what? I liked Bleach growing up. I've sort of grown to appreciate it a little bit more in my old age, in my dotage. Also, Gamma is still going on, or it ended. I can't remember which. I think it's still ongoing. Is like the big board and tabletop game conference, trade show, etc., etc., etc. Where all the big publishers show up to chat about what they've got coming out. Cool Mini or Not's got a lot of A Song of Ice and Fire stuff coming. Kind of weird that the game is doing so well compared to everything else Game of Thrones, but they specifically only have a license with the books. So they have a fair amount to draw on, and they have some stuff that never made it into the shows that they can draw on. But I guess we'll see where they go and where they come and what they come up with. Angerbird's going to be a little bit more of like a holy paladin at the end of the day, I'm feeling. Almost entirely accidentally as well. Oh, excuse me, I need a sip of something. My goodness. Huh. So many cables. I need to go back through and I have to redo a lot of my setup actually. Okay. Where were we? Ah, yes, that's right. That doesn't look like too visually samey, does it? Too much gold? It's a very predominant color. Speaking of things I need to redo though, holy crap, I need to go back through Twitter and I need to find some way to adjust my algorithm. Because if I'm not seeing people talking about VTuber drama, I'm seeing Games Workshop drama, and between the two of them, I will take VTuber drama over Games Workshop drama. Every day. Because Games Workshop drama is much, much easier to silence and ignore. Ow. That does not taste good. Alright, let's actually get some color on the wings. Considering how big they are, they're a very important part of the model. And I'm gonna start... I want them to be white ultimately, but Most of the advice and instruction I have seen, and what my own experience would attest to, is fuck painting straight white. That shit sucks. And it mostly sucks because white pigments are very, very thick. So they're very grainy. So it's easier to paint gray or dark gray and then jump up, which is what we're doing here. I'm starting with a color called Snow Shadow, which is a very light blue. And then I'm just gonna add in progressive amounts of lighter gray before finally getting to pure white where I want it. And I'm just realizing I didn't clean this brush off properly. So we're getting a little bit more than just the snow shadow. We're also getting some kind of orange, but I'm kind of digging it. We're just going to call that a happy accident. Remember, there's no mistakes when painting, unless you're a studio painter. Then there are mistakes. I could argue that this is a mistake because this is very thick paint, so I worry that I'm obstructing some of the detail on the back of his wings. So I'm gonna have to lighten this up a little bit. And yeah, I'm picking up that red-orange tint, but again, kind of a fan of the effect. One thing I do want to be careful that I'm not doing though is that I'm not painting too hard over layers that aren't 100% dry yet, because I don't want to tear it all up to create texture. I think that would be like I'd be okay with a textured surface on the cloth, but not on the wings. What I'm also doing, what I need to get better at, is I think I'm screwing up a little bit where I am altering my brush strokes. So sometimes they're vertical, going down, sometimes they're horizontal, going across, sometimes they're vertical, going up. I need to be more consistent with that so that I'm not just blindly feathering, which you would think, based on the name, would be what I want here, but no. No, it is not. Alright, and continuing on. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. The sword, I was thinking I was going to do a lava effect on the sword, but I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do a green, like, witch fire on the sword. I think it'll be bright and jarring and really catch the viewer's eye. Come in here. Don't want to get too much of this snow shadow on those gold bits. I have plans for them. It's going to be really hard in this lighting to see the finished wings, I'm just realizing. I wonder if in Elden Ring, because of the new patch that just came out, they finished the NPC quest lines for a lot of NPCs, and I've seen that Patches now has a new quest line added to him. I wonder if anybody's figured out where that actually ends and how it ends with Patches. Trusty Patches. I spared him. I'll spare him in every game. Patches has never done me anything wrong. Well, except for that one time. Alright, Amateur, you're out of timeout now. You've been out of timeout, actually, for a while. Now, you personally have tried to land puns 10 times in chat, and unfortunately, no pun intended. Oh, that was a bad setup. Jenkins! Get him, Leroy. I think that dude went on Conan. Alright, so this color is Basilisk Green, and I'm using it on these little phalanges, let's call them. I'm also going to use it as the wash for the skin again, because I think it's a really good skin color wash, but it's an interesting, like, dark grungy green, greenish metalish color. So I'm also going to use it for the top of the mask here. So we're just gonna place a couple dots there and there. And then for the skin, these instant paints are really good washes and like semi-glazes. I really like them. Apparently Scale 75 is coming out with an oil paint set. And part of me is like, cool, I already have an oil paint set. But the consumer in me is like, but that's a branded oil paint set. If I get that, that means I'll be able to paint twice as good. Right? That's how branded products work. That's why water tastes so much better from a bottle than it does from the tap. Alright, so continuing on down. Precisely. Thank you. Thank you. Now that I've got amateur backing me up, I know for a fact that this is the right decision to make. All right. I'm really looking forward to painting some of the actual boss characters. It's the heroes that I think I'm the least excited about painting from Massive Darkness, because they're so effing small. They're tiny, small, más pequeño. Okay. Wipe off the brush. Take a lick. Recoil in disgust. Ugh. That stuff's grody. Stuff's real gross. That's the problem with instant paints. They don't taste good. How am I supposed to lick brushes with a terrible tasting paint? Honestly. Honestly. Alright, now we're gonna try to do something completely different. Probably the technique that I'm worst at, because it involves so many other techniques. But we're gonna give it a roll. We're gonna try to do some non-metallic metal. And really what this is going to involve is really just putting thin highlight layers of this yellow and then trying to smoothly blend it into the underlying darker area to create some variations in tone, color, and shadow. A whole lot of fancy words to say. I'm gonna try to make this dull brown look like shiny gold in places. And it's going to involve a lot of very faint brush work. I've seen it done in a lot of different ways, and I've just never really been able to achieve the same desired effect myself. The hardest part for me, and where it falls apart, is that non-metallic metal, by virtue of being non-metallic metal, sort of requires you to be looking at the model from a specific point of view to really get the effect. To look like light is actually shining off metal in the way that it would naturally behave. And that is where my experiments fail. And the other points of non-metallic metal that you really want to hit is you really want to hit a good balance of light and shadow. So I've definitely found success in starting from these sorts of darker colors. You know, I'm actually thinking of doing that. It was going to be a lava blade, but I'm thinking I might actually go for like a sort of like witch fire effect. I think that would look pretty cool. No need for \S here. I'm kind of on board with that plan. Alright, like that I don't like. That's a little bit too much. That's a little bit better. It's coming together a little bit fine on camera. A little bit fine. Thank you. What's on your plan for the weekend, amateur? You guys actually launching the RP on Sunday? Or continuing it? I want to know when I need to begin to lurk. Yeah, I don't know if that will work. No, more hashing out of details. Always good, always good. God, see, that's just such a bad transition there. I really need to paper that out. True that. You know, I get why they don't, because licensing and whatnot, but I sort of really wish Nintendo would get into the RPG one-shot genre and just like release little one-shots with Nintendo IPs. Do a little partnering. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think fans could only applaud such a move. Oh, please. Then when they get to the Link stage, just have Zelda translate for him. Yeah, hey, yeah. He says, nice to meet you. Thank you. Still a long way to go, actually. Definitely not going to finish tonight. read that as Weavile at first, and I was like, Pokemon Metroidvania? I mean, I'm there for that, but that's an aggressive plan. Truth. All right. Yeah, that's a little bit too harsh. Chicken or rice? Mega Ultra Chicken! Ooh. Okay, so like the chest plate, like the chest area, that looks good. I like that. I'm a fan of that. We're getting somewhere. Not quite out of the butts phase, but my choice of highlighting is all all over the place. So if you could combine any two Nintendo franchises, which would you combine and why? Because I think I would try to actually combine at the moment. Or I guess franchises is a bad way to say what I'm really meaning here, which is like genres of games. So I would want to try to combine, for example, like I would like a Fire Emblem game in the vein of Legend of Zelda. Like, I know that big tactical battles are all the rage, and that's the whole point of the Fire Emblem series, but I would also... I would like an actual RPG Fire Emblem. Metroid game that plays like an RPG. Yeah, every hunter, yeah. Yeah. Would you be thinking of like, or like a, Alright, Snesok. Get you off to bed, buddy. Thank you so much for dropping by. We'll probably finish the bird up tomorrow. Gently applying highlights to his crown. Oh no, I was thinking, like, when you said that, my first thought for the Metroid Pokemon one was like a monster catcher of some kind. And I was like, do you catch the other hunters? But no, it was a like a turn-based RPG. Yeah, that would be cool. Conversely, a Zelda set with Fire Emblem mechanics, that would also be fun. Let Samus actually be Mama Metroid. I wonder where they're gonna go with that. I wonder if they're even gonna do anything with that story. How's Monster Hunter Stories 2 going, speaking of Monster Catcher stories? I'm behind on that myself. I need to get through and do a bunch of the DLC. Catch me Gold Raytheon and Silver Rathalos. That is the one thing I dislike about Monster Hunter Stories 2, is it feels like there's almost no case where a subspecies is worse than the base species. Oh, so I think you've met Kyle? No, third area is the mountain. Snowy Mountain. With Best Girl and her Barioth. Tex, hey buddy, how you doing? Excuse me, I am checking my phone. How was your day? Green Rathalos? Oh, you mean Raytheon. She's good. Raytheon is good. It's pretty hard. Also deals with poison, so if you like status effects, Raytheon. She's your lady. I mean, that's okay. They're technically the same species anyway, so Green Rathalos is technically appropriate. Oh, Royal. Oh, big Spongy Boy. Oh, you just. I love Spongy Boy. He hits hard and he doesn't afraid of anything. He's a pretty cool guy. I like Alo. He's a pretty cool guy. He kills aliens and doesn't afraid of anything. If you remember that copy pasta, you officially qualify for a senior's discount at Golden Corral. Oh my god, speaking of that, I had to go back to find them, but that auto-tune the news, those were from 12 years ago. Doesn't even feel like it's been 4 years since those came out. Someone must share in my burden, Tex. Alright, I mixed a little Lilith Yellow into undead flesh to kind of create a very simple... Yes? Did Fortnite sue them over it? hope Fortnite sued them. Oh boy. Oh, that's not good. Oh no. Oh. Oh. Yeah, it's weird. Fortnite's definitely been a very strange cultural milestone. I'm actually very tempted to try to do a little bit of research on it and figure out exactly what popular culture characters and icons kids today know from Fortnite versus from their actual home series. And I don't intend this to be a rah-rah Fortnite bad. Like, you can, those are a dime a dozen, you can find them anywhere. I'm just curious whether the crossover helped Fortnite or if it helped the parent. Like God of War, for example. I wouldn't expect a kid to know what Kratos is from. Of course, with kids today, I also wouldn't be surprised. The internet can be used for good and for ill, of course. You know, I've never played Fortnite, so I really don't like to bash it. Because it's easy to bash for its popularity and its success. Oh, Fortnite bad. Oh, blah, 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 blah. But I like to actually have played something before I start ripping on it. However, I will admit I am also notoriously bad at battle royales. Except for Naraka Blade Point. I was okay at Naraka Blade Point. Probably because it wasn't a shooter battle royale. I saw bits and pieces of that drama. Drama's probably a wrong word, but I saw bits and pieces of that escapade, let's say. I don't like being around or anywhere near drama, personally. I'm a very non-confrontational boy. I ain't got beef unless you bring the cow, if you catch my meaning, but... So, just unfortunate that through social media that's sort of the thing that gets spread the farthest and the fastest. Hey! You know what we call lean meat in this household? Delicious. Alright, now what I'm doing is I'm just trying to add some extra color to the cloak before going in with a couple more layers of highlights. Oh, Poor cow with no legs. Speaking of beef, though, I had delicious corned beef hash this morning for breakfast. It was so good. I think one of my favorite jokes is the three letters. Have you ever heard of the three letters? So the three letters, it's a pretty fun joke. It goes like this. See, one day, a man is elected president. People weren't very happy with his predecessor, so this man got elected. And on his first day in office, he gets a phone call from said predecessor. His phone call says, "Hey, just want you to know, you ran a good campaign, but congratulations on beating me. You know, you're president now. And I know that the job can be stressful. So I have prepared for you three letters, and I've put them in my desk. When times get tough, I want you to pull them out, and I want you to open them one by one, and they'll help you get through these tough times." So the president shrugged, hung up the phone, and said yes, and things were good for a couple months. But as politics is, you know, eventually people started getting angry, gas prices started going up. So the man reaches into the drawer and he pulls out the envelope marked number 1. And inside is a single note card. And it says, "Blame your predecessor." So the man goes out, he gives a speech, he blames the other guy. "Oh, they left us such a sorry state of affairs." People are calm, approval ratings go up, and he breathes a sigh of relief. Now, of course, you know, gas prices are still high, so in a couple more months, 3 more months go by, the mob returns. So the man reaches into his drawer and he pulls out card number 2. Card number 2 says, "Blame Congress." So the president goes out and he gives a big rousing speech about how the presidency is not a dictatorship, about how he can't simply wave a magic wand and fix all the laws, and how it's Congress's fault. And the people are annoyed, but things improve for a couple months. Well, a year and a half goes by, and things start getting real bad. And the president doesn't see a way out, so he reaches into his drawer, and he pulls out the 3rd envelope. And on that card is written 3 simple words. Prepare 3 envelopes. I love that one. It's long. I need to actually figure out a much faster way to get to the punchline, but okay. So I'm gonna do just a little bit more. Cloak, mixing in some Mars, some Mayhem Red. On all all the most raised areas. Ooh, give me a good bar joke. If it has anything to do with horses and long faces, I'm banning you. Oh no, I've had 16 drop frames. Oh my god, no. It's not even actually registering as a percentage. Walks into a bar and the bartender says, "Sorry, I gotta go to the roof. We're full down here." So the man goes and he orders at the top, and a man sees him order. It says, "You know this place is magic beer, right?" And takes the beer. Uh-oh. I've got a fun D&D bar joke slash story. So I walk into the bar and the bartender tells me, "Hail, traveler, what are you having today?" And I look the bartender in the eye and I say, "I'm hunting mimics." And the bartender throws back his head and laughs and says, "Mimics? We haven't had a mimic here in years." Ah, and I laughed, and the bartender laughed, and the table laughed, and I killed the table. It's reason number 45 why I couldn't be a DM. Mimics. Mimics everywhere. Favorite NPC? Mimic. Favorite NPC's puppy? Mimic. Evil King? You guessed it. Also the favorite NPC. Who's a mimic? Tap, tap, tap. man, even Superman's gotta blow off steam sometimes. Can't be rescuing Lois Lane and what's his name from the Daily Planet every day. Well, I mean, they can't be the same person. Superman's super, right? But Clark Kent wears glasses. Why would Superman wear glasses? It makes no sense. Alright. I think I am going to call it an evening for right here. I have an early morning meeting that I gotta wake up for. So here's the plan for tomorrow. The plan for tomorrow is we're going to finish off Bird Boy, and we're going to make a good start on and try to get as far through Raphael as possible. So that's the plan for tomorrow. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll finish off Bird Boy. We will get going on Raphael, maybe finish him, and be done with 3 of the Massive Darkness bosses, leaving only 24 or so to go. But all of the ones remaining are real big. Alright, y'all. Have a wonderful evening, everybody.